Alright, this is your day 5, so it's also Friday, so I figure we'd do an easier topic today, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing decimals. Not something that you've done before, so, but still, you need to review it. Alright, so adding decimals, and we'll keep it simple. I'll do probably a couple of examples with adding, and a couple of examples for each. Alright, adding decimals and subtracting decimals, the most important thing is lining up your place values. So if you have two numbers like this, I don't know, 34.09 plus 7.2. Let's keep something simple. Okay? And you're going to add them. I do it the wrong way first. It's 34.09. And let's say you decided to do plus 7.2. When you add these, you're not adding numbers in the with the same place values together. The 9 is in the hundreds, the 2 is in the tens, so adding these two will not be correct. And also look, a 7 here is a whole number, and you're adding it to where? A place value that is in the tens. So this is definitely incorrect. So correct form, or the correct way, would be simply there. Writing your first number, and right under it, start with your decimal. So it's right under, and then fill in the rest. And they will line up nicely. If you can, or you should, add a placeholder here. A 0. It's not going to change the value of your number. And now all your numbers, okay, to the right of the decimals, okay, are even in size, and it's very nice and pretty to add. So that becomes a 9, a 2, bring the decimal down, 11, and 4. Okay, so it's adding, literally, simply, it's just a matter of lining the decimals, making sure they're under each other, making sure that the correct place values are under each other, and then adding a placeholder if necessary, okay, just to make the digits to the right of the place value decimal have the same number, so that, you know, it looks nice and pretty. Okay, otherwise it looks empty here where the 0 is. Okay, well, that's adding. There's not much else to talk about that. Subtracting follows the same thing. Okay, let's just do on 2.74 minus 1.856. Okay, again, important thing is to line them up. So let's add them, line them up. 2.74. It's written first, so it goes on the top. Minus, and let's start with a decimal. 1.856. And with subtraction, it's not a matter of adding a 0 at the end here to make it pretty so that you have 3 decimal places in each number, but it isn't necessary. It's necessary to add that 0. Okay, you can't subtract 6 from nothing. Okay, so adding that 0, definitely mandatory, and then becomes a simple subtraction problem. Okay, so we're going to start borrowing. Let's see, we should borrow all the way from here. That becomes a 1, this becomes a 17, which will become a 16, this will become a 14, which will become 13, and the 0 will now become a 10. 10 and 6 is 4, 13 minus 5 is 8, 16 minus 8 is 8 again, and 1 minus 1 is 0. So final answer is 0.884. Okay, that's it for addition and subtraction. Again, very, very simple. Okay, and the most important thing is that you need to line up those decimals so that you're adding or subtracting, okay, numbers that have the same place value. That's key. All right. Multiplication, not too difficult. Multiplication, if you have two numbers, 1.2 times, I don't know, 0.6. Okay, and you're going to multiply these two. You don't have to put them under each other, what do you call it, decimal on the decimal, because it doesn't matter. Okay, we're not that only works for addition and subtraction. So here we're multiplying like we always do. What you need to do is count the number of numbers after the decimal in both factors that are being multiplied. So in this case, you have one decimal, one number to the right, and here's another one. So you got two numbers. Okay. We did that in class, so just write 2D. What is that going to tell us? It's going to tell us that our answer should also have two numbers. Not should also have it. Our answer should have two numbers to the right of the decimal. Okay, let's see how that works. 6 times 2 is 12. Goes 1. 6 times 1 is 7. I see a lot of you guys doing the 0. It's not necessary, but I'll do it. So you move 1 to the right and you start here. So 0 times 2 is 0. 0 times 1 is 0. Okay, it's completely unnecessary to do this, but I'll do it anyway. We add, we get 2, 7, 0. Now we need to add a decimal in our product here, in our answer, and its location is determined by this number right here. Our answer is going to have the same number of decimal places, 1, 2, as the two numbers that we're multiplying combined. So the first factor here had 1 decimal place, the second has 1 decimal place for a total of 2, and that's what our answer is going to have. So our answer has a total same number of decimal places as our two factors combined. Let's do another one here. Okay, so let's do, I don't know, 3.96 times 1.22. Okay, again, lining up our decimals is not important in multiplication. Alright, so let's start with this. Let's count the number of decimal places. So our first number has 2 decimal places. Our second number has 2 decimal places for a grand total of 4. And our answer should have 4 decimal places. So it's a matter of multiplying. Let's see, 2 times 6 is 12, goes 1 is 19, goes 1 is 7. Move 1 over and we're going to get the same answer again, 792. And then we move 2 over, and you're going to get 396. Okay. You move 1 over here. You move 2 over here. Okay. And while we add, we get a 2, we got an 11, we goes 1, 10, 13, goes 2, 18, and goes 1 is 4. So our answer is 483.48312. We need to put a decimal somewhere in here. Okay. It's going to be, our answer has to have 4 decimal places. So for 4 decimal places, it's going to be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And our answer is going to be the 4 and the 8. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Okay, so that's multiplication. Okay, you just got to make sure that your product, your answer, has to have the same number of decimal places as the two numbers being multiplied. Okay. Dividing. Ooh. Alright. Dividing. To divide a decimal, let's take a few examples. Hang on a second. Let me just find a few numbers. Alright, let's take a number like this. 20.4 divided by 5.1. Okay. So let's set this up. 20.4 divided by 5.1. Alright, it's much easier to divide if we switch this number right here. Okay. 1 second. No. Let's pause this. Alright, so continue. It's much easier if your divisor here, and this is your divisor right here, this guy right here, is a whole number. Okay? So what we want to do is whenever your divisor is a decimal, we want to change it to a whole number. So to change it to a whole number, all we got to move is that decimal, that dot from there. Stop moving, we want to move that decimal from there, that way. So instead of 5.1, we want to work with the number 51. Okay. And a division, guys, it's also fraction, remember. Okay, so whatever I do outside, I must do the same thing to the inside number, to our dividend. So that decimal is also going to move 1 to the right. So we get, instead of 20.4, it's going to be now 204. Much easier to divide now. 51 goes into 20, no. 51 goes into 204, I'd say about 4 times. 4 times 1 is 4, and 4 times 5 is 20. Oh, look at that. Nice and even. So, 5.1, our original question, 5.1, okay, which was this. Alright, nothing changes. So, 20.4 divided by 5.1 is 4. These two share exactly the same answer. Okay? So, the idea here is to change the divisor. If the divisor is a decimal, change it to a whole number. We don't care about the dividend. Dividend can be whatever it wants to be. Alright, let's see if I can do a couple more problems. Alright, and I'm making, well, I can make this up. So let's try, 805 divided by 0.05. Oh, I should have picked something else. But again, so here, and let's make that over here. Okay, 80.5, I'm sorry. So again, we want to change this number right here into a whole number. And to do that, we're going to move that decimal 2 spaces to the right. Okay, it's going to go 1, 2, and it's going to be a 5. And again, whatever I do to the divisor, I must do it to the dividend. So 80, move that decimal 1, 2 spaces to the right. There's an empty space here. You're going to add a 0. So my new number is going to be 8050, or 8050. Now it's just simply a division problem. Okay. Alright, so we divide. 5 goes into 8 once. That's a 5. That's a 3. Bring the 0 down as a 6. 30. Bring the 5 down. It's a 1, which is a 5. And if you bring a 0 down, 5 goes from 0 times. So my answer is 1,610. So another way of, so going back to the original question, which was 80.5, you're asking yourself, okay, how many times can 0.05 go into 80.5? So think about money. You have $80.50. Okay. How many nickels can you make out of $80.50? So you need 1,610 nickels. Seems like a lot. But that's about it. Okay, so in division, the key here is to make our divisor, okay, our divisor, this number, change that to a whole number. Okay, and whatever changes we do to that number, we must apply that same change to our dividend. Okay, that's it. I mean, there's not much about division. Okay, this is it. So, yeah, that's that.